Reiki One Treatment demonstration right now. So, first thing we're going to do is draw our Reiki symbols, which we're not going to say out loud, but we're going to draw them. We're also going to say the Reiki disclaimer, so we're going to go ahead and give you the symbols. And then we're going to say the client's name in our minds 3 times. And then we're going to say the Reiki disclaimer. You're free to accept or reject this healing. Reiki is healing, harmonizing, and balancing. And then we're going to lower our hands into the first position. Now when you're working with people, what you might want to do is you're holding the hands between 5 to 30 seconds. You'll feel the Reiki draw. And then when you're ready to go into the next position, which this time it's going to be the top of the head and the back of the head, we're going to bring our hands behind the ear. We're going to roll the head into our hands. We're going to put our other hand behind the head. Get that left hand, don't help me. Get the left hand behind the ear and the right hand on top. Normally I do this with the right hands. I roll it in, bring the left hand underneath, roll it back, and place the right hand on top of the head. You could do it either way. Get your left hand underneath. Perfect. So when you're doing this, I want you to pay attention to the Reiki draw. How strong is the draw on a scale of 1 to 10? Is it stronger in this position for you?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All I did was just change the positioning of one hand. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay. Now, when we're actually giving a full body treatment, we're going to spend a little bit more time than I am in this demo, and that's okay. Then you're going to bring your hand behind their ear, turn the head, bring the hand out, roll it back into position and be gentle, and then bring your hands on top of the eyes, cupping the eyes. That works? As long as you're gentle. With the hand, the eyes, place the heels and then gently cup. So you want to get their sinuses. Perfect. Okay? Beautiful. For some people, this is really strong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then you're going to glide your hands to do their ears. If you were standing up, you would be doing it this way, but when you're seated, it looks like this. Okay? And then go ahead and feel, just ask the client to just take the Reiki in, let themselves relax on the table and soften and melt. And then you're going to go to the throat position. You're going to glide your left hand underneath the back of their neck. You're going to bring the front hand to the front. You can gently rest the front hand on the clavicle or the collarbone. And you can ask them for permission to touch their throat like this. Some people don't like that, so which would you prefer, on?
You can
okay. Some people like it because it's very soothing. Perfect. Okay. What's your draw there? Your Reiki draw?
9.
Yeah, it's strong, isn't it? Okay, now we're going to glide to the next position. Again, I would normally hold this a little bit longer, but we're going to glide to the tops of the shoulders at the upper trapezius and the scalenes. This is tight for most people. Make sure you're relaxed. Make sure your shoulders are above your hips when you're doing Reiki. Make sure you're comfortable. And then we're going to glide our hands out to the rotator cuff area. Fantastic. And that's a wonderful breathing release we're having when we let go and do a big sigh. Okay, now we're going to stand up and we're going to do the arms. You can do one arm front to back on one side, or you could do both arms at the same time. So let's do both arms at the same time. So it's going to look like this. We're going to come up, and we're going to actually leave her arms where they were. And I'm going to Reiki. We had the tops of the shoulders. We're going to do the biceps. Make sure you stand in what's called a bow stance. So put your hands. Actually, we just did this. So glide your hands down. There you go. Perfect. Now, if you can't reach somebody, then you can move around the table and work from the other side. That's fine. No, because you look like you can reach her just fine. What's your number here? Your Reiki draw? Good. What's your Reiki draw over there? Glide down and do those elbows. If you've done the self-treatment, this should seem very familiar. There we go. And then we're going to glide our hands up to the lower arms, or down to the lower arms. Yes.
With my hands, see how they are like this?
Uh-huh.
Should it like be like that?
No. Just make your hands comfortable.
Okay.
The Reiki's going to go in no matter how your hands are positioned. It's more important about it feeling good to the client and feeling good to you. Okay, glide up to the backs of their hands. Always want to keep your fingers together to concentrate the energy. Okay, like this. Okay. Okay, now when we change positions, you guys have probably noticed that we glide. That's to maintain contact. So we're going to glide up and go right to her lungs. Now, see, what you did is you took your hands off her body. So you want to glide your hands up her arms.
So, okay.
You want to maintain physical contact.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect. Okay? Now I'm doing lung. I'm feeling about a 9 on this one.
Yeah, that's really strong.
Yeah. So one of the things you want to pay attention to when you're working on people, you want to look at their breathing pattern. You want to see if it's deep and full. You want to look at the change of their skin color. You want to look if they're melting into the table, if they're having an emotional release, if they're sweating more, laughing more, twitching. Sudden giggles are not uncommon. And then we're going to glide down to the heart. So you can either do a T like this. You could do both hands on top of each other like this. Or you can do it like this. Whatever's most comfortable for the client. You can also do bi-level, which means one hand's in the auric field while the other hand's on the physical.
I can feel that really strong.
Yeah. Everybody's a little bit different with how they do this. Perfect. And then we're going to glide and we're going to do the breast area, which in this case we're not touching. We're just beaming the Reiki to. So you're going to keep your hands on her. So you, right, but watch. And you're here at her heart. You're going to glide to like that.
Okay.
And then when we transition, you're going to glide down and go to the next position and go out to that. So you're not on her, but you don't take your hands off her. You just lift like this. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay. So we've done the heart, and now the breast tissue. This also works the lungs. This is excellent for women who are healing any issues in this body, this part of the body, I should say. And then we're going to come down to the major organs. Now we're doing, on the client's left side, over here, their left is like that, perfect. On their left is the spleen and pancreas, over here. On their right is the liver and gallbladder. So the Reiki draw may be different in each one of your hands. What's your number?
In your right hand is about a 7, and your left hand about a 4.
Wow. How does it feel over there?
My leg keeps twitching.
Okay.
My upper thigh.
So just reminding you, Reiki travels to where it's needed. Not just the point of entry, but also where it's needed. We're going to glide down like this to their abdomen. We're doing their small intestines here. And also all of the solar plexus, and also the lymphatic vessels, blood vessels, all the tissues and cells in that area. This is often a sensitive area for people. It's a good idea to spend a little bit of time here, but we're going to glide down to the reproductive V, which looks like that. Don't go too low. I'm going to come and help you. Or, that's more comfortable for you. Just keep your elbows. There you go. Or, which one feels better? You can do that too. As long as it makes a V. So whatever the shape is, as long as it's a V. I stand like this sometimes, so I put my hands like in this position sometimes. Sometimes I stand like this. Now we're going to glide down and do the hips. Okay, make sure you're not getting towards sensitive areas. Keep your hands out of the range of sensitive areas. There you go. Don't go too low. Okay, you might feel a change because usually people have something going on in their legs, or they have there's a difference between their upper and lower body. Let me put it that way. So sometimes it's really cool at the torso and hot in the legs. Sometimes it's hot in the torso and cool in the legs. There's usually some kind of shift. If a client needs grounding, you'll probably feel the energy pick up. Remember, the energy is coming through your feet. If you've had an attunement through your feet, go down to their upper thighs. Okay, good. Clients, are you noticing an overall relaxation?
Yes.
Sometimes you could start feeling a little bit at the head, but by the time we get to your feet, you might feel a lot of relaxation. There we go. Now we're going to go down to the knees. Sometimes people process a lot for their knees. Remember, any knee issues, arthritis, any injury, any old injury, surgery. Reiki's wonderful for surgery recovery, too. And then, oh yes, what's your number there?
Me?
Yeah.
Really high, about a 9.
Okay, how about you?
7.
Also, go ahead and glide down to their lower legs. And you mentioned that you have knee issues. Do you feel any pulsating in your knees?
Right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So remember, when you give Reiki, you give a treatment and you get a treatment. Okay, come up to the tops of their feet. I mentioned this earlier today. You're doing the tops of their feet, right? And then we're going to, when we flip them over, we'll make sure and do the soles of their feet. I'm going to show you guys the Reiki finish when we finish. That's something that we haven't talked about yet. Now, at this point, the client's probably a lot more relaxed than they realize. And you're going to have to gently remind them to turn over, and you're going to have to make a little tent for them with a sheet so that they can turn over. What we're going to do is put the face cradles in the tops of the tables, okay? Try to glide up. Try to maintain contact as long as you can, and then squeeze the client gently to let them know you're going to be disengaging. And then we're going to take the face cradle. I'm going to put this in first. You want to pull the chair away. Pull the chair away. Perfect. And you're going to want to put face cradle in gently before they turn over, because they're so relaxed. Their eyes are probably going to be closed, so they don't even know where they're going. Perfect. Beautiful. Got it? You need to make sure that goes all the way in. There you go. Make sure that you fold this 1, 2, 3. And now you're going to go over to a client. You're going to get the edge of the sheet. You're going to ask the client to put their arms underneath. You're going to lift up the sheet just a little bit, like this. Go ahead and flip for me. If you have a bolster under their knees, which we didn't, but if you had a bolster, you take that out first. If I were giving her a massage, I would actually lift up and make a full tent for her to flip. But because she was dressed, I didn't do that. Okay. Now we're going to do the back of the body, posterior body, okay? So go ahead. Now we've already treated the head, so this is only going to be for a few moments. Except your Reiki draw here is like a 10, so maybe a little bit longer. It's funny.
Back side?
I know.
Good luck. Have fun.
Remember, you're treating the lobes of the brain that are back here, also the cerebellum, the visual centers are back here. Now we're going to glide down to the back of the neck. One of the things I haven't mentioned to you ladies yet is that you can send Reiki through the front and back of the body at the same time. That is very powerful. We did it at the throat when they were face up. It's very powerful to do that. You can do that in other hand positions too. Now we're going to do the back. We're going to make a little line that's going to go down. We'll start in this position. It's a line across the body. And once this position feels complete, what happens is the Reiki flows in. It flows in waves. It rises and falls, rises and falls, rises and falls. And when it accelerates all the way up to the top, then it drops out. and it feels like your hands, which were magnetized to the person's body, then release, and then you can go to the next position, which I just did. Now, open up your stance a little bit. You get your feet on your hips, you bend your knees, and you tuck your pelvis under. That's a nice horse stance. That's a good position to be in when you're doing this work. You want to be comfortable as a therapist. Okay, now we're going to go down to the next position. So again, try to keep your hands gliding down effortlessly. You're striving to make contact with that person and keep it. That draw, that Reiki draw in this position is what? 5. How about your other person or other person? What's your number over there? 6. Go ahead and glide down. With your person, be aware that their face is in a face cradle, so they may be hard to hear. And glide down again. So right where the arch of the back is, that's where the kidneys and adrenals are. That usually needs extra treatment. So usually spend a little bit of extra time here because most of us experience a lot of stress and most of us have taxed adrenals. And now we're going to go to the final position here on the back. I'm going to show you the whole posterior body, and then I'm going to show you the spinal clearing, and then I'm going to show you the Reiki finish. Go down the sides of the glutes. You may want to ask your client, is it alright if I treat your glutes? Is it okay if I treat your glutes before you do it? And if they're okay with that, put your hands right in the middle, because this is where the bladder meridian comes right down through the gluteal, and that's where a lot of back pain is. If you relax the gluteals, you relax back pain and hamstring pain. You'll relax it. Sometimes the pain will release completely. Okay, good. Okay. That looks perfect. Just move your body mechanics. Stand up straight. See how you're tilted? Come behind your hands. There you go. Maybe change hands so you're more comfortable. And that means that we probably need to raise the table so it fits you better. So probably what we'll do next time is raise up the table for your height, okay? And then we're going to glide down to the back of the hamstrings. And then go to the back of the knees. You'll feel a little rises and falls, and the energy goes woo, 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 ew, and then usually the client goes, right? You just did it too. There's another big fat one. That was good. And then do the backs of the calves here. And then do the backs of the ankles, posterior ankles. And then go ahead and do the backs of the feet. I'm going to show you the spinal clearing. We're going to glide up here. Okay, we're going to go to this for the client's sacrum. So what we want to do is feel the tops of their hips. It's called the iliac crest right here. And right in the middle, that's where the sacrum is. You cup the sacrum. So the top of the hip, the margin of the top of the hip is right here. Right in the middle is the sacrum. You cup that. And then you're going to start doing the spinal clearing. This also opens the chakras. What we're doing is we're basically charging and clearing the central nervous system. And it's a good idea after you have done the full body to do this. So we'll hold this position until it feels clear. Now we're going to keep this hand here. We're going to move this up to the next position. Perfect, right there. Beautiful. And then you'll feel a pulsation that bounces back and forth between both hands. And when that pulsation balances out, that's when it's time to move on. So you might feel a pulse, woo, woo, woo in one hand and a wah, 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 wah. And then when both pulsations equalize, that's when they usually have a breathing release. Then we're going to go to the next position. I'm right at the base of the brain here, medulla oblongata, pons, and actually the midbrain, right at the back of the neck. And now I'm going to go to the back of the head. I'm keeping this hand here. And move your body so that you're a little bit more comfortable, and then go to the top of the head. And now we're going to ask our clients, once this clears, beautiful, we're going to ask our clients to bring your arms on the outside of the blanket, please, or you can help them by doing that. if they're so relaxed, and we're gonna do the Reiki finish, and that looks like this. You're gonna send Reiki from one hand and one foot from the same side of the body, just like that, okay? And try to bend your knees so you get comfortable, okay? You'll feel that pulsation in each hand and each foot, and when they balance out, that's when you switch. Then we're gonna do an X. We're same side. Now we're gonna keep this hand on this foot, and we're gonna go to the other side and do it on this side. And then we're gonna do the same side, hand and foot, on the other side. Look at her twitching. She's totally twitching. There it goes. Her nerves are firing. And then we're going to keep this hand on this side and cross back over to this side. Beautiful. That looks great over there. Okay, ready? When these balance out, we're going to glide up, we're going to finish. We're going to do brushing down the body. Don't brush down the glutes. Brush out the sides, down the back of the legs. 1, this grounds the client. It starts bringing them back. 2, 3. Now if you do a massage, you can always incorporate this into a massage. You can do it before or after. And then you're going to make a little egg around them. You're going to visualize blue light coming out of your hands. Start at their feet. We're going to visualize an egg. This is strengthening the boundaries of their auric field. We're going to meet our hands at the top. 2, 3. Good. Bring your hands together like this. You're going to draw the symbol that invites the masters. And we thank the presence of the masters. And we're going to go like this. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you very much.